city and ensuring that they were performing a commercially useful function. And then I moved over to the contracting side, and now
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Freelon. I am Deputy Procurement Officer for the Department of Procurement Services over Intergovernmental Affairs and Community Engagement. I've been with the city 27 and a half years, so retirement is countdown. 27 years in a variety of roles. I've been in procurement a little over 12 years. My first 11 years was spent on the contract side, so I did a lot of high-profile contracts with the Department of Aviation. I've been in this role as a deputy within the last year and a half doing IGA type work and community engagement. So thank you all for attending. I'm excited for this discussion about women in construction. I love this. So what we're going to do is have each panelist introduce themselves, their company, and we'll start off with
Hi, my name is McNeill, and I am the master wealth builder, helping to build stronger and better lives and businesses. And I help women in construction go to the next level. Celebrating over 45 years in the construction industry, first Black female contractor in the state of Florida. So I'm excited to be here today sharing. I own 5 different businesses. We'll talk about them later on, but the first one is MCO Construction. The second one is MCO Consulting, where we do outreach, monitoring, and compliance. The third business is Constructive Speaking, where I speak nationally and internationally to organizations such as this. The fourth one is the National Association of Black Women in Construction, which is the shirt I'm wearing. And we have a booth at booth 53, so please stop by our booth. And then finally, the International Mastermind Association, which is founded from the book Thinking Grow Rich. Thank you.
wow, that's to be honored to speak on a panel with these great, awesome women that's so empowering and inspiring. I'm Sashe, the owner and CEO of Hatz Construction. You all may see me every time in pink and black. I was told to make sure you brand yourself, with these advisors and everything. But I'll give you briefly how Hatz got started. I was the only woman mostly on construction sites. Some of the realtors may know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna tell you my age for a minute. I know the news media keeps saying 15 years, but I got in the industry in 1995, so I think it's well over closer to 25 years. And as a realtor, I would always be on the construction sites, but I don't know how many women in the room when you were growing up, your dad was teaching your brothers, not you. We were taught to be pretty, right? We couldn't do construction. So with that being said, I met 2 sisters. One was a plumber, and they both were hairstylists. One was a plumber, and one was an electrician. But back then, you never even heard of a lady GC. If you heard of it, it was few and far between. So as being on those construction sites, the idea came to me to be a lady GC. I got to work in doing real estate because I was a realtor with a banker. And I didn't pursue that dream. Sometimes God will have something bigger for us that we go on one path. He said, no, we gonna detour you, right? And that have happened to me. And make a long story short, I was in a community meeting. Once again, I looked around the table, there were developers, and but it was all men. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start and become a lady GC, but I'm gonna be the biggest female, African-American female contractor because I'm going nationwide. And so we started Hatz 4 years ago. And with that being said, we do have a training program. We were blessed to partner with another female construction company, an Apostle. We have accreditation. And so our next stop is Atlanta and also Indiana. So ladies, come join us. We don't discriminate, guys. We do hire guys because it's only 11% of women in the construction industry, and that's just not building, that's overall tollways, road, bridges. So we need more ladies because we think differently, right? So please come and join us. We at table 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. And so she was talking about 11% women in the construction industry, but in the construction workforce, the trades workforce, it's about 4%. So I'm with Chicago Women in Trades. We've been around for a little more than 40 years. When we were started by tradeswomen who were finding their way into the industry thanks to civil rights legislation, and started Chicago Women in Trades to help build opportunity for women in the construction trade. I think everybody here is familiar with the fact that women earn about 76 cents or 80 cents or whatever it is now for every dollar earned by a man, and part of that is because jobs that are dominated by women pay a lot less than jobs that are dominated by men. And so our contribution to building women's economic security is opening doors for women to pursue careers in the construction trades. We pursue this in 2 ways. So we work with individual women to help them prepare and succeed in the industry through our pre-apprenticeship programs, welding programs. We're now doing trade-specific pre-apprenticeship programs with the painters, the carpenters, iron workers, and so forth. We also are an organization that was built by tradeswomen. So we are sisters helping sisters. We maintain a community of tradeswomen, and the idea is that we're going to support and help each other to succeed. On the other side of the coin, because preparing people for opportunity that doesn't exist doesn't make sense, we are also trying to create opportunity for women. So we provide technical assistance to unions, apprenticeship programs, contractors, and other stakeholders. And we also advocate for a policy that supports women's careers. So, for example, this year we were able to get a data transparency bill with the state of Illinois, and we have hoping to introduce an ordinance this year with the city of Chicago looking for goals and enforcement for women on publicly funded projects, as well as community oversight and respectful workplace training. Anyway, it's a whole bunch of stuff that we are doing around helping women to succeed, but also creating an environment where they can succeed.
Rachel Ivy, and I'm the Executive Director for Communities and Power Construction, where our goal is to, it began with creating a holistic approach to community hiring. And so we typically work directly with general contractors and developers when they are starting projects to identify what opportunities are available on the projects. We do outreach, community engagement, just to make sure that the community knows how they can be and become involved in the project. We also work directly with the community, helping them access the opportunities as they come about. So we pretty much, our goal is to help individuals from the community navigate the construction process if they aren't already in it, but to also help them find employment so that they can stay employed in the industry. So when I started Communities Empowered Through Construction, it's been almost 10 years, I realized that I knew what the numbers were. I knew how many minorities were showing up at the job site, but I realized that the community didn't know. And my whole goal was for the community to be involved in the construction process. And so what I did was I started a magazine, which we call BASE, which is Building Awareness Through Community Engagement. And our goal is really to be a resource that connects the community to construction, but to also showcase everything that minorities, individuals of color, underserved communities, what we are doing in the construction industry. So we also work a lot with returning citizens. And one of my goals was to really showcase how construction can change lives. And so if you get the opportunity, please stop by our booth. I believe we're at number 71, and you'll be able to see the magazine. You can subscribe subscribe to get a copy if you like. So that was the magazine. So from the magazine, I ended up starting a not-for-profit during COVID, because what I found, the individuals that I was working with, there were gaps. You know, whether they were emotional gaps, financial gaps, and then there was educational gaps. And so my goal was to do something different, but to really be able to support the individuals, their direct needs at that time. So we've done training on how to get their driver's license. We've helped fund how to get their driver's license. We've done expungement training programs, just so that we can help people stay employed and to help keep them encouraged, because this industry for minorities is not easy. And if you are coming from the background of you got introduced to the project via being in the community, so already you got a stigma that's associated with you that you're working against when you're out there. Construction Cares is an organization that kind of supports individuals as they are navigating the construction space. And then last thing that goes along with Base Magazine is that we have a podcast, because we wanted to talk about all the stuff that's happening in construction. So we have elected officials, we have workforce partners, we have tradesmen, anybody in the construction space. We have topics that affect everyone. And so the goal was that if we begin to talk about all the issues that still exist in construction, maybe we can start to move the needle to make some real change and not just talk about all the reasons why we can't do it. So that's me and my organizations in a nutshell.
So thank you all for the introduction. Lisa and I will start with some questions, and we'll open up questions to the audience at the end. One thing that I would like to note is the Department of Procurement Services did a disparity study in 2021. We hired a consultant, Colette Hope, to look at some of the challenges in construction, and one of the findings was being a woman is a challenge in the construction industry. So we wanted to bring some of our industry leaders here so you can network, pick their brains, understand some of the things that they have done to help you in your business. So I'll start with the first question, which is, what are the secrets to your success?
Sure. I would say the secret to my success, and success is different for each of us, but for me, it's my faith. It is unquestionably my faith. I have my last name is McNeill, so I have a McNeillism that says that I work like it all depends on me, but I pray and I have faith like it all depends on God. And so with faith being my secret, if you will, to success, I am very clear. I'm very, 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 very clear. I just want to make sure you get the point. Where my strength comes from. Being in this industry for 45 years as the first this and the first that, I have an undergraduate degree in accounting, I have a master's in finance. I personally hold 2 general contracting licenses myself. So I started in the construction industry while on my corporate job. When I realized that in corporate, in the 70s, they got 2 points for me. It did not take me long to look around and realize I had the other 98. Mm-hmm. And so my journey into this industry has been understanding that if the corporate, if you will, a lot of corporations can have a livelihood based upon government contracts, why can't we? But the road starts with each and every one of you, each and every one of us, understanding that you must have a dream in order to have a dream come true. You each must have a dream in order to have a dream come true. So coming to the question, when I decided that I was going to start this business and go into construction, I brought my toolbox. Can everybody see the toolbox? So if I would anybody like to guess what's in my toolbox? Anybody?
I would say anything related to your faith, since you're very clear.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else want to guess what's in the toolbox?
Your heart.
No, what's in my toolbox are my tools. And my tools are books. Books. And I share this because you talk about my success. This was the first book that I read at 9 p.m., December 31st, 1979. And on one page of this book, I created 5 businesses off one page of this book. And that's what I teach today. And if you want more information, you can connect with me by pulling out your cell phone and texting the number 59925. 59925. And in the chat, just put Ann, and we can have another conversation later. But I would say this has been the secret to my success. This book called Think and Grow Rich, I lived in this book every single week since 1979. Yes.
Can you repeat that number?
59925. And in the, yes, 59925. And then in the chat, just put the word "and." And I'm open to questions at the end. Thank you.
So I'm gonna say the secret to my success, first of all, was God. When I started Pink Card Hats, I didn't know it was gonna be as big. Like I said, God will take you think you're going one way and God take you another way. So I was just out working, posting like most of you on Facebook, and then the news people, and it just went viral in 2022. That's when I didn't have that. I had a vision, but God had a different vision. Besides that, you have to persevere, because it has not been easy. When we went viral, we had 200 fake reviews hit our post. They did not want to see a black woman with all that exposure. Most people couldn't have went through it. I was getting calls from Caucasian men telling me to suck they because I'm trash. I don't know construction. With the 200 fake reviews, they were stereotyping us, saying, you guys came out and I asked you to do my roof and you were twerking on my roof. You guys came in my kitchen and you were making sandwiches, picking your fingernails. You guys came out in a pink, clapped out Nissan, listening to Cardi B. These were like absurd. And it was a little depressing because I'm a mom, a grandmother, and I work hard every day. One of my workers is here and she'll tell you, Sashe is very detailed. They say, how do you look and see that little ink, that little paint speck? You didn't clean your brush, you know? But, so that's why I would say perseverance. But you have to also be persistent. Whatever your goal is, don't let no one, like Miss Ann has said, stop you from your dream. Because I'm in my 50s. Most people, I'm 55. I'll tell my age. Most women don't want to tell their age. But I love construction. Maybe it's keeping me young. So perseverance, persistence, and patience. Sometimes we want it right now. But that's God's telling you to wait because he has something bigger for you. And when I say patience, I have my DBE, my WMBE with the state of Illinois. But it took a while. And when I was sending in paperwork, I was getting frustrated. I don't know how many of you have went through it. And I was getting frustrated and they come back and say, you need this. And I'm like, I just sent that in. What are you looking at? So I got my certifications and I just want you guys to know, just be patient, but don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. Don't give in and stay strong.
So I'm not really sure what I want to say about this. And I'm just definitely talking about Chicago Women Trades as an institution, not necessarily my specific role in that. So we've had great success over the years with individual people who've built strong careers. We put hundreds and hundreds of women into the construction trades and made a real difference. We have seen over the past year programs that have gone from 4 or 5% women in their apprenticeship programs to double digits in their apprenticeship programs. But is this success yet? I mean, I think as an institution, what we set out to do 40 years ago we are not there yet. And if there are contractors in the room, anyone in the room that cares about this issue, we welcome your partnership in bringing more women into this industry and keeping them working. So I think there are, obviously a lot of good news to report. We've gone from 1% to about 4% over the time that CWIT has existed. But that's a lot of individual success stories. But we're looking for actual cultural change here. And we are ways away from that. So I think everybody knows that. So an individual's success does not close the book on the systemic problems that we all face. So that's me.
So when I think about my personal secret to success, I think it is more based off I am a solutions-driven person, and I found that there are so many, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so many problems, and so the key for me is finding a problem, coming up with a solution, which is how CEC was born, is that there was such a big disconnect with how developers were connecting with the community to get, more minorities involved. And so it started with me trying to create a program that solved the problem. And then from being able to solve the problem, it was about getting out there, like introducing myself, making sure people knew who I was, making sure people, I was connecting with elected officials, I'm showing up to all of these events, making sure people knew who I was, I came with a smile. But then once it was time to work, I went to work. Like literally, I was very focused on making sure that I did a good job. So I always had in my mind that I didn't ever want to embarrass my parents. So with that, I never wanted to not do a good job because I knew that my community depended on me. And so that has been my approach, and I think it has yielded great benefits. In addition, to the other lady's point, I am very faith-driven. Like one of my favorite books is Believing God for Bigger, and that is my attitude for everything, is that when I walk into the room, I believe in God for bigger. So while it may seem small here, where I may have started, it was just me in my living room building something. Now, I have an office, I have employees, I have other businesses, and you then begin to see the growth. And so what I would say is continue to write the vision and then consistently work your vision and making sure that people also know what your vision is.
I'll ask the next question, and we'll start with Michelle. So the construction industry is embracing the advancement of women, might be slowly but surely. What advice would you give to a woman entering the industry now?
Okay, yeah, so there's obviously kind of a big difference between entering the workforce and starting your own business. But, so I think it is true that the industry is embracing women. These trade-specific programs that we're doing right now include direct or facilitated entry into apprenticeship programs for women, which is extraordinary. And over the past year, we've placed 165 women in apprenticeship or other non-traditional employment, which is definitely a record for the organization. I think the level of partnership is definitely more. And part of that is based on the idea of a construction boom and a workforce shortage, right? Which I am increasingly worried will ever happen, because now we have higher interest rates and financing issues, and is the boom that we anticipated going to happen at all or delayed, right? So what was the rest of it? What advice would I give a woman? But overall, aside from that negative conclusion, I would say that this is the right time to enter apprenticeship for the reasons that I just said. So I think culturally there is improvement. I I think the demand is greater. I think public investment in construction also provides some motivation for contractors to have a more diverse workforce. So all of the infrastructure spending at the federal level, at the state level, at the city level certainly help. If there's anyone in this room who is interested in becoming a tradeswoman, we have lots of programs and lots of avenues for achieving that. And we also have a booth back here, but I forgot to remember the number of our booth. It is.
I can let everyone know in just a second.
And a website, chicagowomenintrades.org, which gives information about how to get started. But we have loads of programs starting all the time, so definitely welcome the outreach.
Sashe, I'll turn it over to you.
So my suggestion would be to get into apprenticeship, to learn as much as you can. Because I'll tell you, one of my biggest things, and I stay up late nights. I was up to 2 o'clock in the morning this morning doing bids for clients. Learn the estimating, bidding, take you some classes. You know, what I'm seeing is, this goes for men and women. They've never been in the construction space. So they just go get a license. And what they're doing is going out there. I have had to go behind so many contractors, and this was like absolutely ridiculous. I just tell you this one. Went in a client's house, and ladies, you'll probably laugh because I was like, this had to be a man. The glass cabinets, windows where you had your pretty champagne glasses at the top, these guys put it at the bottom. Who want to see the pipes? They had the cabinets hanging on the wall, and in the living room, big holes through the wall. So that means someone went out and got a license, and they don't know nothing about construction. And it happens all the time. So you want to educate yourself, get into the apprenticeship, study, there's so many free classes for women in construction right now. And I was at one event, and just in Illinois alone, they were saying, with the set aside, there's $12 billion for women in construction right now. Not million, billion. So the biggest thing I can give you is just to educate yourself. Maybe you want to do apprenticeship, take a class, and then work with the company like Pink Car Hatz for a while until you decide that you're ready to go off on your own.
I can go ahead next. I'm going to ask, we have, if you can just please hand these out, please. My response to the question would be niche to be rich. Can everybody say that with me? Niche to be rich. One more time. Niche to be rich. One more time with enthusiasm. Niche to be rich. All right. So again, my last name is McNeill, and that's one of my McNeillisms. Niche to be rich. So I want to piggyback on what both sisters said and tie it all together about what does it mean to niche to be rich. When I share with you that I read this book, December 31st, 1979 in Nashville, the author asked me the first question, and if you texted me at 59925, I just sent you that, right? Okay. So I want to ask every single person in here, how much money do you want? We're talking about niche to be rich.
That $1 billion. At least $1 billion.
I want each of you to stop 1 second and think of a number. Think of a number. Think of a number. Take a sheet of paper and write it down. Because that's what happened to me when I read this book. And I said I wanted to make $1,000. Now, I went to a trade school. We talked about women in trade. I went to a trade school while working on my master's degree. I went to a what? Trade school while working on your master's degree. So I'm taking away every excuse for every single person, male or female, in here about why you can't do this and why you can't do that. But if you focus on niching to be rich, this is what it means. Find one thing. Do one thing. If you're going to paint, be the best painter possible. Niche in painting. But wait now, if you're gonna niche to be rich and you're clear how much money you want, and you're going to be a painter, you must also decide in what industry. She talked about $1 billion, right? Now, as the founder of the National Association for Black Women in Construction, we host a $1 billion luncheon per month by industry. What's an industry? Anybody in here invest in stocks? If you invest in stocks, do you put all your money in one industry? No. If you diversify your stock portfolio, you diversify your meal when you eat, right? You don't eat all starch, you don't eat all protein, right guys? Right. Fellas in the room, right? Bodybuilders, right? Diversify and consider your industry. So in construction, what's the industries? You have water, you have transportation, you have ports, you have transit, you have healthcare. Go to Google and ask, what is some construction industry? So let me come back to the painter and I'll finish with this. Niche to be rich. There are 4 of us here. So let's say that I'm a painter, she's a painter, and the 2 of them are painters. We're all painters. We're talking about what? Niche to be what? Rich. Okay. This is Misty Campbell. Misty Campbell is a contractor. Let's say she's a general contractor, and she's one of the largest general contractors in Chicago. But she only do construction for schools. That's called facilities, right? Madam Architect, right? She only do construction in what?
Facilities.
Schools, facilities. That's an industry. So painter number 1, she meets all 4 of us at this conference and she says, painter number 1, what do you do? I said, I paint. She said, but what do you paint? Listen, what you got? I paint everything. You got a house, church, I paint it all. What kind of construction company is she? School. Okay. Painter number 2. She said, painter number 2, what do you do? She says, I'm a painter. She said, well, what do you paint? She said, listen, I paint roads. I paint striping. Highways. She goes on to painter number 3. She said, painter number 3, what do you do? She said, listen, I paint everything, me and my family, my children, listen, we do it on the side, and we can paint a little of this, we can paint a little of that. What you got? But then she gets to painter number 4. And she says, painter number 4, what do you do? She says, I'm a painter. She said, but what do you paint? She said, listen, I only paint what? Schools. Sharp. Sharp. She said, not only do I only paint schools, but I go to all the school associations for the industry. Okay? Facilities industry. And I know all of the inspectors, all of the school board members, they know me. I know all of the people who vote for the, which one of us do you think she's gonna choose?
Well, me, obviously.
Number 4, let's say it together. Number 4, why? Because number 4, niche to be what? Rich. And I want to leave all of you with this thought. Find one thing. If you have a job, focus on one. Doesn't mean you don't do a lot of other things. Now, all these painters, we can still do other things, but become an expert in what? One thing. And that way people know you for what? One thing. And so that's what I would suggest and encourage anybody who's looking to start a business, male or female, in this industry. Find one trade in one industry and become an expert in that. Thank you.
And wrapped it all up. So I'll just add, just throw a little something in there. You also, not only do you want to be prepared, like you want to have all your paperwork done, like make sure you do your homework. So people sometimes discount the importance of doing their homework, making sure that they have their back office together. So making sure that you are prepared to present yourself as you are out there trying to do business development, so getting business, but then also being able to follow up. Oh, I know what it was I wanted to say. Surround yourself by people who can help you grow. Meaning, if you know, to your point about the back office, if you know that you don't have time to do it or you're not good at it, find you somebody, whether it's a consulting base or however you need to work it out. But find someone who is good at that skill, to her point about needing to be rich, to help you so that your business can grow. Because if you're doing everything, especially behind the scenes, you get lost behind the scenes and you miss the opportunities to do business development, which is getting out there selling the business, because you're so inundated in the day-to-day and the minutia of actually running the business. So that would be the one tip. And then the other tip that I would say is find a mentor in this industry. So someone who can consistently give you advice, someone you can consistently bounce ideas off of, and just can help you kind of navigate that process. And when you join different organizations, though, that's the perfect place, because it's a wealth of women in that room, or wherever, different industries. There's a wealth of people who love to just talk about what they do. So that would be my advice.
Okay, we have about 20 minutes left, so we'll ask another question and then open it to the audience. So what do you think are some advantages of being a woman in construction? We'll start here.
Are you serious? Okay, everybody who's a member of NABWIC, can you just please stand? If you're a member of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, could you please stand? Okay, so there's 2 here and we're at table 53. I would tell you, and of course, if you're looking at me, I think you can tell that I'm what? I'm black. Oh. I have to say that because it's obvious, but we don't talk about the obvious. And right now, I can personally tell you that in my 45 plus years of being in this industry, there really is nothing better right now for me in this industry than a woman in construction that happens to look like me. Now let me say this for those of you that don't get me. I have been a member of the National Association of Women in Construction since 1982. That's NABWIC. The B for us, even though we're black, stands for business. Okay? Even though we're black and it's business. And I share that because last year, in 2023, I received an award from NABWIC, National Association of Women in Construction, for the Advocate of the Year for Women in Construction. Can I get a hand clap? So I just wanted to just share that because, again, women in construction right now niche to be rich in whatever it is that you desire to do. But that's what I would just like to suggest as we prepare to close, and we'll open up for questions. But just remember, each of you must also have your own dream in order to have that dream come true. All right, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry.
What do you think are some of the advantages of being a woman in the construction industry?
Well, from my experience, clients trust the woman because they've been already either deceived or taken advantage of from men. And I'm not down in men at all. I'm just saying what my experience is. So when I go in, I have a client that I'm working with, and she needs this house rehab because she's trying to get her granddaughter or niece back through DCFS. And they just, when I went in, I'm soft-spoken, I'm attentive. Women are more attentive, right? And they just love me, and they just call me back. And before I can even really give them my numbers, they was like, Sashe, we want you. So I get that a lot. So right now is the best time because I don't know, I read this book a long time ago that women think in squares and men think in circles. They just go around and around. But we're just different. I bring design to my clients. They love it. I do a 1-day free shopping consultation. What woman don't like to shop with their contractors? The men have asked me, can I pay you, Sashe, to go out with my client? I don't want to do that. Well, gonna give your clients suggestions. You know, I'm more about the client because every client don't know. Most of my clients, they just don't know. They were used to their husband. And reason this is a good time, a lot of women have lost their husbands to COVID. They don't know which way to go. They need someone to guide them, right? So that's my take on being a woman in construction and why it's better being a woman in construction right now.
Thank you.
I was
So, in the construction workforce, you know, women have a lot of obstacles to overcome, and some of them are the attitudes of their coworkers. And I am a little hard pressed to think about how that could be an advantage. But I guess the one thing I would say is that everybody's watching your work all the time. And so if you are amazing and you are good, people will know that, you know. But having people watch you all the time, it's not necessarily like a plus for you so, as a worker. So, I don't know, Helen, you want to help me out? Helen is a tradeswoman, a painter.
What was the question?
What advantages do women have in the field?
There are no advantages. There are none. You make your own. You strive, you persevere, and the challenge is you put your blinders on and you pave it forward. And who knocks it down? You knock them down first.
Yeah, I really think that there have been some very successful women in the industry, including Helen, who's the first woman officer in her union. But they achieved that not because they were a woman, but in spite of being a woman. So, so that's at least been ours.
So I will say it from differently when you think about some of the requirements. So as a woman, technically right now they still need 6% or the small vote that they have for women businesses. So taking the opportunity, they are still struggling to meet those numbers. I was literally just at an event and they literally were still saying that they still have such a hard time meeting their WBE number. And so to that point, again, it's about consistently making sure that we as women are solving problems. You need women, we are right here. So we can help you meet that little 6% goal that you guys have established. So that would be that. And I think the other benefit is that, I mean, we bring perspective, we bring a different energy to construction in general. So I think that's pretty much what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, there is a goal for women in the construction workforce at the federal level of 6.9%, which is completely achievable, but since enforcement is pretty sporadic, I'm not sure like how much focus there is for enforcement on that 6.9%, which would be a big improvement if people strove for the 6.9%. Well, you know, we're hoping for goals, voluntary goals from private developers, or hopefully, you know, more enforcement of the city's existing goals would be a help. I mean, I think those things help. I shy away from talking about that because what women hear on the job site all the time is, you just got this job because you're a woman, you're not qualified. And that just so rarely happens that somebody gets a job because of a goal, and she is qualified. She's a journey person, she's an apprentice, she is qualified. And for every job that you get because there's a goal, there's a whole bunch you didn't get because there's no goal. And so I still think we are in an era where we need to have those sorts of motivations in order to make progress. So.
Thank you.
hand up, and I'd like to open it up to questions from the audience. I saw your hand first, so I'll with you.
Thank you. I think I've had an opportunity to speak with most of you all today. I have a trucking company. So when you all started off, you said that you were in corporate America. When did you step back from that and go full blast? Because I look at women as we are the backbone of our families. So I do back office, I do dispatch, I do all of that, but I also have a 9 to 5.
It's clearly about the money. It's clearly about the money. I set a goal for myself to save 6 months of my salary without touching it, to know that my business could afford to take care of my expenses. But I left my job too soon, and I had to beg my job back. And so I promised myself that I would never be in that position again. So the second time I left, I had a year worth of savings. And I would share it with everyone. This is just my McNeillism. I would suggest that you should all have a short-term savings, a long-term savings, an emergency savings, and max out every single possible conceivable retirement. And for me, it started with a $20 bill. I was making minimum wage. I mean a $20 bill. So a $20 bill to my short-term savings, which came out automatically. I learned that from a book called Automatic Millionaire. Okay, $20 to my savings, short-term, $20 to my savings, long-term, 2 different accounts, 2 different banks. Put money on my Roth IRA, small amounts, I'm talking about less than $100. Put money on my 401k, I'm talking about small amounts until I started making more money. And then as an owner of my business, I set up also a SEP IRA. Now let me fast forward that because again, I talked about investing in a portfolio. When we have these jobs, we don't realize oftentimes it's not so much about starting our own business, and it's not so much about what you make. It's really more about what you do with what you make. So I'm going to encourage all of you to go to this website. It's called betterinvesting.org. Chicago has one of the best chapters in the whole United States. Betterinvesting.org. And it is an organization to help create and form investment clubs. Betterinvesting.org. And we invested, learn how to invest. We're our investment club, $25 a month. Do the compound interest over 10, 20, 30 years. So I would again say, make sure that you have short-term savings, long-term savings, and for me, save at least a year's worth of your salary before you leave your job. Those would be my points.
Hi, I had a chance to speak with Ann earlier. It was wonderful. I have a general contracting company. My background for a certain number of decades has been in banking and investments. I worked on Wall Street, but now I'm in general contracting. I only deal with government contracts. What I'd like to know from you ladies is how did you get your mentors? And if I might ask, who are they? I realize with the banking, you always have a mentor, so it's important to have a mentor in this industry.
So I got one of my mentors. I got him because at the time I was looking for a job, and he had an opportunity. We got to talking, about the job, and I was honest about what it was that I wanted to do. And he was like, okay, I think I may have something perfect for you. So in my case, I kind of found him indirectly, like it was started with another opportunity, but because we had, he saw my skill set, so I was again out there networking, talking about what I'm doing, and what I'm trying to do and where I was trying to go. He was like, okay, I got something that may, be a good opportunity and a good fit for you from there. And then just because I had that opportunity, I kept in touch. And so we consistently talked about kind of how that opportunity was doing, how it was growing. And then from there, things kind of leaked into my personal life, where, okay, I'm trying to balance this, I'm trying to do that. And then they were able to give me advice in that realm as well. So a lot of it is really, you can approach it a couple of different ways, about being very intentional about finding a mentor or finding somebody to connect with, or it could also grow organically, but then you tapping in and realizing that this person is someone that can really help me grow.
and then nurturing that relationship.
Yeah, kind of what she was saying. I was gonna ask, which one of you ladies was you my mentor?
Any other questions in the back?
They're in the main auditorium, which this session probably should have been. The city procurement office was saying that they had $12 billion or so to give to winning contractors, and there were more people in this room than there were in that room, so they should have probably had you all in that room. I'm just saying.
We'll make sure we make that change. Just in the back?
I'm fed up of listening all the time, small business projects, resources and training, workshops. We are fed up of this. I'm looking for a medium, financing, companies or resources where I can get, because I have a very huge project, and it's around 15 to 20 million cost project. Can you help me from that?
Planning and development. In the
Exhibitor hall, we have various financial institutions in the exhibitor hall. And then planning and development, Department of Planning and Development can probably give some assistance as well.
I'm sorry, I'm on the next panel, so if I could get your permission to be back to.
You've been great.